Airship.
Hello, loyal airmen, and welcome to the Airship 27 podcast, number 55. And as usual, I'm one of your co-hosts, Captain Ron Fortier, and joining me as ever is Chief Engineer Rob Davis. Hi, Rob.
Hello there, Airship 2021, Airship 27, Airmen.
I told you them liquid lunches are not going to work.
I put my teeth back in.
Oh, boy. Hey,
Put my brain back in.
Before we even get started with the agenda, no, we will talk.
Yeah, I got them too. Okay.
What we do, it's contagious across the internet.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
As ever, we no longer have to do the commercial bit, whatever. So Rob can launch into this month's joke. Buckle up, airmen.
Yeah, here we go. Okay, let's see. As usual, I picked out two. Because I never know exactly what's going to be happening. So, but I looked for one that was appropriate for the season. So here we go. So there was this female business executive who was late for a meeting. She's going 65 on a well, actually this isn't seasonal. Never mind. She's going 65 on a street where I know, what can I say? On a street where the speed limit is 40. A cop pulls her over and says, "Ma'am, can I see your license?" She says, "I'm sorry, officer, but I got it revoked 2 years ago for drunk driving." His brow furrows and he straightens up. "Well, can I please see the registration of your car?" She says, "I stole the car and I killed the driver. He's in the trunk." The police officer says, "Ma'am, don't move. I'm calling for backup." He mutters furiously into his walkie-talkie. 5 minutes later, half the squad pulls up. The chief of police walks over to the woman's window. "Ma'am, can I see your license?" he asks sternly. "Of course, officer," she smiles demurely and pulls out a license from her purse. He squints warily at it. "This looks legitimate," he mumbles. "Can I see the registration to this car?" She pulls it out of the glove compartment and hands it to him. Again, he notes it looks legitimate. Still, the chief moves to the rear of the car with a pry bar and says, "Ma'am, stand back." He bangs open the trunk of the car and flinches. It's completely empty. The woman brandishes a finger at the first cop and says accusingly, "And I'll bet that liar told you I was speeding, too." Elaborate plan to get out of a speeding ticket.
That joke took a long way round, but boy, that punchline is worth it. Oh, that's good. That's really, really good.
Yeah, I was thinking I had found an autumn joke, but I didn't find a really good one. But I stumbled on that one. Ooh, that one's pretty good. I like that.
I like it. I like it a great deal. Yeah.
I'm not going to try that, by the way. But
no. Okay, these jokes are just for listening, loyal women. Okay.
Yeah,
they're not
these are not life lessons. No. If anything, they're an anti-life lesson.
Yeah.
Don't do this stuff.
Hey. Anyways. Hey, next up on the agenda. I want to take a few minutes because 2 weeks ago we had the 5th annual Fort Collins Comic Con here in Fort Collins. It's amazing how well this show has grown in the last 5 years. Attendance seems to keep coming, larger and larger every year. They always have some really cool guests, and all my buddies and local Colorado creators show up as they always do. And it amazes me because it becomes a very community organized event, Rob. All right. And of course, all the proceeds from the convention go to the Poudre Library System,
that's a cool thing.
Right. It basically handles like 3 or 4 local communities, Fort Collins, Loveland, whatever. So this is the kicker. In the last 5 years, they've raised $150,000.
Wow.
For that library system. So, hey, you know what? Comic book people are tops in my book. I'm going to tell you that right now. And I do definitely want to give a shout out, a big, huge shout out to Nick Armstrong, who is the driving force behind the convention and always has been. Nick is one cool dude, a great guy, a lot of fun. And his staff, which are amazing people, including a friend of yours and mine, my official protege, Todd Jones, which was the label I gave him when I first moved out here, and he just assumed it. So, anyways,
I think he knows better than to try and fight you over it.
Anyways, and Todd is really a talented creator in and of his own right. One of the highlights of the weekend actually was they wanted me to do a panel. They were like, can you do a panel for us? And I said, well, I'm always willing to contribute to help out when I'm a guest at a show. But the thought was like, well, is anybody else going to be there? And they're hemming and hawing. So finally I looked over at Todd and I said to the people organizing, I said, well, look, if Todd's willing to interview me, with a few questions, I said, I can easily kill an hour telling some salty stories of my comic career. All right. And so it was billed as an hour with Ron Fortier.
Oh boy. Oh, well, kind of like these podcasts.
There you go. There you go. So it went rather well. I have to tell you, we probably had about 15 people in the hall.
Wow.
Which is a nice little gathering.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah. And I talked a little bit about, my history of when I got into it and whatever. But I got to tell you this, okay? Because she's not going to see it anyways. Right. Valerie says, I'm going to go to your panel. I said, well, why don't you just watch the table? I said, you know all these stories. You lived them with me. And she goes, no, I want to see you talk. She says, so I says, okay. I said, you're more welcome. So we got a con volunteer to watch our table. And Todd says, you guys ready? I said, yeah. So off we go to this hall. We walk in. There's a little podium. We go sit up there, right? With 2 chairs. And Valerie sits in the back of the hall, right? Now, Todd introduces me. I start telling the audience some of my stories of how I got into comics, some of the things I've done in comics. And I happen to look over the back, and there's Valerie.
Yeah.
Slept the whole hour. Okay. So the thing's over. I said, somebody want to wake up the lady in the back? So we're coming out. I want to thank you, dear, for that tremendous, support that you give me. I get in the arm. I'm tired. Besides, I've heard those jokes before anyways. And I'm like, yeah, of course you have.
Isn't that what you tried to tell her?
So she got her nap in, okay? So, anyways. These are the kind of things that Rob and I deal with on a daily basis. Thank you, Fort Collins Comic Con. Again, looking forward to next year and number 6. So there you go.
If I can say, it's our spouses that keep us grounded. Sleeping through your panel is one more example of that. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, let's see. Oh yeah, next item. Last podcast breaks records. Bit by bit, the numbers of folks visiting our podcast has been growing steadily. Think of a turtle moving along at a deliberate pace while at the same time eating up the miles. At the start of this summer, we were averaging about 80 to 85 views. Then with number 53, that number dipped to 41. Okay, that show aired in July at the height of the summer. So obviously,
you've got a new word. Webster, pay attention.
Ovulously, okay. Many of our loyal airmen were out and about enjoying well-earned vacations and seeing new places. We're delighted to report, come August, you good people were back, and as of this date, episode 54 has 98 viewers and subscribers.
Well, I got to interrupt. 102 and counting.
It jumped.
We've crossed the 100 mark.
So four more crazy people joined our group. Okay, great.
Right.
So and subscribers, are the subscribers still at 121, or do we have?
They're at 121.
Okay.
But hey, that's awesome.
Yeah, that is. We can't thank you enough for not only sticking with us and putting up with us, but obviously telling your friends about our show as well. Let's keep those numbers climbing. And of course, a heartfelt bravo to our Sparky, Brant Fowler, who makes it all possible. We couldn't do the show without him.
Amen. It's been nuts. I've been following it like every 2 or 3 days and steadily watching that number climb as number of views. That's what we're referring to. And as of this morning, we were at 102 views.
Wow.
So that's 102 of you really awesome, amazing, wonderful people who've spent an hour with us. Okay. Hey, thank you. Again, keep it up. Keep spreading the word. Tell folks we're here, because Rob and I do enjoy doing this. It's basically our outreach con, isn't it, Rob? We can't go to every con. We can't meet each and every one of you. But this podcast gives us that opportunity to bring you into our little atmosphere and enjoy some of the stuff we do.
Yeah, talk to anybody who's actually seen us at conventions, and they'll tell you this is pretty close to what it's like.
Yeah,
the only difference is, instead of all the books behind me back here, they're all out in front of me at the table. So,
yeah, we are actually no different. Okay, we have such a great time at shows. And again, Rob's right. If you want to have an idea of what it is to meet us at a con, watch a podcast.
Yeah, it's very, very similar. I mean, we don't put on any personalities. This is it, guys. I'm sorry.
It don't get no better than this.
No, double chins and all.
Look at all that here.
Well, yeah, I got a little reflection right here myself. I sometimes I forgot to turn the light off because it just goes boing right off the top of my head. But yeah.
All right. Moving right along here.
Yeah, let's go past that. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Radio Archives. Okay, as we reported at the beginning of the year, Radio Archives is now producing all Airship 27 video books, and they are doing a fantastic job with that. To date, they've released 11 titles, which includes the massive 2-box set Legends of New Pulp Fiction. In fact, they've become so regular. In the past month and a half, they've released the new Airship 27 audiobook every Friday morning. Do keep in mind, the first week a title is available. All you loyal airmen can purchase either the CD box set or the streaming digital download for 50% off the regular price. Again, simply go to their website, click on the audiobooks button, then click on Airship 27's button, and there you'll find all our titles to date. Radio Archives is by far the best at what they do, and they have the finest voice actors in the business. So there you go. Yeah. Tip of the hat to Tom Brown and his amazing crew.
Yeah. Great stuff. I mean, I know for you, if anybody has a long commute and you like listening to podcasts or audiobooks, hey, there's an opportunity to get some of the Airship 27s playing in your radio on your way to and from work. Right. So anyway, okay. Next on the agenda is Redbud Studios' newest title. After 2 years, the 3-issue sci-fi mystery thriller Paradise Falls by artist John Williams and letterer Warren Montgomery wrapped at the start of the new year. Now, Redbud has collected all 3 issues into one volume available from Amazon with a brand new cover. It also looks like sometime in 2020, there will be a new issue of Airship 27 Presents All-Star Pulp Comics. Writer Mark Davis and artist Louise Rivera are doing a Crimson Mask strip, and Rob and Ron hope to get a Purple Scar Secret Agent X team-up story done for it. Keep those fingers crossed.
Okay, so here's the update on some of this that I'm very
Okay.
happy to report. Last night, Mark Davis, the writer of the Crimson Mass story, sent me low resolutions of all 8 pages. They're
Cool.
finished. All right, Lewis as pencil and inked them. Beautiful. Oh, Rob, you're gonna go nuts. All right, Luis Rivera is awesome. He's one of the finest young independent artists working today. He's out of California. He and I did a Captain Jane Marley story years
Oh,
ago,
yeah.
uh,
Okay.
called Cold something or other, Cold Murder or whatever. But anyways, he had done the illustrations, and again, I marvel at his work. It continues to get better and better and better. And so we've got this. It's now being professionally lettered. They have a letterer on board.
Oh,
So
cool.
so it will be lettered, and by the time you get the high res copies, it'll be all ready for print. Okay. Uh,
Okay.
which hopefully in the next couple
Okay.
months I have an opportunity to sit down and write that Secret Agent Purple Scar project that we want to do, strip that we want to do. But at the same time, John Helmer, the publisher of Lucky Comics,
Yeah.
supposedly, this is according to Mark Davis, supposedly has a brand new 8-page Black Bat strip that he wants to offer us for this volume.
Ooh, okay.
So
All right.
it's slowly building, Loyal Airmen. Okay, the next issue of All Star Pulp Comics looks like it's going to be another winner. So there you go.
Yep. And
We're ready.
as usual, no deadlines on this thing, so we can't tell you when it's going to come out.
Right.
We will tell you once it's available.
As always.
So stay tuned to the podcast because this is the kind of stuff you learn. You learn when these books are coming out and all this good stuff. So come back next time and we'll tell you a little more. Okay.
We update you all the time. All right.
Right.
Go ahead, Rob.
Well, all right. Released since our last show, we are thrilled to announce we just released our 201st title, The Howls the Moon by writer Philip McCormick. Actually, it's as we record this, it's not released yet, but by the time you see this, it will be released. So let's be at 100% accurate.
We're back to the future.
I just got the corrections in like an hour ago
Hot dog.
from the author. So
Oh,
tonight I'm going to try and get that finished up so that in the next day or two, fingers crossed, it will be available so that by the time this airs, it definitely will be available. So I will continue reading now that we've gotten all the details out of the way. This is the werewolf thriller set in Ireland during the Easter Rebellion of 1918. I did all the illustrations, all 9 of them, and macabre painter Steve Otis turned in a truly fantastic cover. This one could have been a movie poster. Hopefully, Steve has plans to do prints. He should.
He should. He could sell dozens of these.
Yeah, it's a classic
horror monster poster composition. Yeah,
just beautiful. The book, as always, is available on Amazon in paperback and eventually on Kindle if it isn't already there by the time of this posting.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, one thing we should talk about a little bit is that when you finished doing the illustrations and you had assembled the whole book, and we had Gordon Demowski proofread it, and then once Gordon was done, you checked it up, and then the last person who ever sees our books are the writers themselves. So you sent the PDF off to Philip. Well,
yeah,
Philip wasn't in on the logistics of how we assemble books.
Right.
And so going through it, he sees all your great 9 illustrations, and they're absolutely awesome and fantastic. But the kicker is there's only one with a werewolf in a book that's about werewolves. Well, we had to explain. We had to explain to Phil. Yeah, I wrote him back the next day and told him about how we do books mathematically. All right, we can't have all the illustrations all bunched together. And as much as you and some of our other artists would love to draw werewolves and action sequences rather than talking heads, you can't do it. You can't open a book up and have 3 illustrations and none the rest of the book, nothing but text pages. So it's done mathematically. And Philip was on board when I told him that. Well, I was just getting ready to send him that letter when I thought about it, and I went, oh, wait a minute, he hasn't seen Steve Otis's cover yet. So I said, Philip, and I attached it. I says, it just dawns on me, you haven't seen the cover for the book yet. Here's a little peek. Please don't release it until the book is out, officially at Amazon. He gets back to me the next day. Holy shit! Now that's a werewolf cover. He's a happy camper. Okay, he's flying.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's all it took.
So when he sent me the because he had mentioned he when he first got it, he sent me back a thing and going, well, why is there only one werewolf?
Right.
One wolf picture in this whole
Right.
thing. So I kind of explained it to him. And then I mentioned something to Ron about it, and then, so Ron said something to him. So he sends the stuff to me today, and he apologizes, which is no big deal. I wasn't all that upset about it. I just wanted
to him to understand.
Clue him in on this is how it works.
Right.
I mean, I'd be thrilled to have drawn a bunch of werewolf shots, but again, in the story, most of the story really goes around. So there's little sections here, little section here, little section here that's got werewolves in it. And the rest of the book is about the rebellion and how the guy is involved in that rebellion.
Right. Yeah.
So ultimately the sections where, the timing inside the book where they would fall, the only one that fell was early on, and it was just one shot with the werewolves. What I explained to him too is that, yeah, I would love to do it that way, but it's actually more challenging because what I try to do with my illustrations is when I find that section, I'm trying to find the emotional heart of that section, whatever it is. Sometimes there is some action in it, but a lot of times there's subtleties of emotion or whatever, and that's a real challenge to try to cram all that into one illustration and get it across to the reader. So it's actually more challenging this way.
Oh, it is.
And I can be more creative. I can, yeah, even though it can be a pain in the ass, but it actually is more challenging that way.
All right. So I get the last thing he says to me in his email. Oh my God. He goes, you know what? That cover is why I came to Airship 27 in the first place with this book.
Well,
there you go.
Cool. Well,
that's the reputation we have, and that's what we like to deliver.
That makes me feel really good because that's exactly the kind of thing we're going for. I try to make the logos and the covers look like old pulp books.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it works real well. Other times it doesn't work as well. But I try to stay away from a lot of fancy stuff with Photoshop and shiny letters and all that weird stuff. But there are some tricks that I use that modernize it just a little bit. But I try not to take it too far afield from what a pulp book might look like from the 1920s and 30s.
Yep. So, and you do a great job, buddy. You really do.
I keep hearing back on that, and so
we get compliments about the looks of our books all the time.
I'm on the right track then. That's good. Okay.
All right. So hey, look, we got what's coming up next. Let's divvy this up by paragraphs here on the agenda.
Okay.
I'll start with right at the moment, there isn't a single title we can point a finger to as being the next one to reach publication. As it turns out, we've got quite a few moving down the production line at a fairly good pace now. Things are coming together. Brad Sinor's thriller about battling immortals, Eye of Dawn, is in the pack and probably leading it, with artist Clayton Merwin turning in some really fine illustrations. So if I were betting, I would say that's our next book. But maybe something else will come in before. We'll see what happens.
I don't know if I'd bet. It's probably 50-50. Yeah. Okay. If lucky if it's 50-50.
So anyway, what's neck and neck? Go ahead.
Okay. Artist Ed Cato is sending in some truly gorgeous interior illustrations for Ravenwood, Stepson of Mystery, Volume 4. It's obvious he's having a good time with these and is enjoying the new stories about this pulp occult detective. I think he sent us a note a couple of days ago that there's one scene that he's actually going to some mansion in the area. He's going to take some photos and use that as reference. And as I told him, hey, it's like I told him, I love the internet now. I can Google something and get several references for it. So back in the day, you had to go to the library or pull pictures out of magazines and stuff. I wish I'd had that darn thing. Had the internet back when I was doing comic book artwork, and it made things a lot quicker and easier.
Amen. Amen to that. Right.
That's where we are with that one.
Okay. So then we're keeping our fingers crossed that we should be seeing artist Adam Shaw's cover soon for the new Sinbad, The New Adventures, Volume 6, while Mexican artist Yehus Rodriguez finishes his last 3 illustrations. And as we mentioned before on an earlier podcast, Rob and I have seen Adam's sketch composition for that cover, and it's going to be brilliant when it's finished. So hi there. Avon calling.
It's probably just somebody trying to sell me something. Anyway.
Oh, without a doubt.
So I'm now going to. All right. It's off the hook now.
I was going to say, it's probably the FCC telling us to get off the air, you guys.
Oh.
Your turn.
Go ahead, Ron.
I'm done. It's your turn.
Okay, what are we up to? The Wraith?
One of the oldest, after the Sinbad.
Yeah, one of the oldest we've had on file is The Wraith anthology, based on writer Frank Dershell's crime-fighting character, and I'm sorry if I mangled your name, Frank.
Dershell.
I think that's
right. Yep.
Dershell? Okay, I was close. Yep. After all these years, Chris Nye, and he's turning in beautiful interior illustrations at a marvelous rate. Gives us hope we might actually get this book out before the year is over. In fact, just before you got Chris on this, you had tapped me to do this book.
Right.
And I'm going, because it seems like we've had a tough year finding interior illustrations, and I'd have to sit down and count, but I think I've done the majority of books we've put out this year for the interior illustrations.
Pretty much.
I mean, that's not a problem, but at the same time, I wish we could. It goes a lot quicker. The books go out a lot quicker if we can find somebody else to do those. So while I'm working on a book, somebody else is working on another one, rather than I finish one, then I have to do another one. So if you know anybody who's got some talent for black and white illustrations, and they're interested in doing something like this for a little bit of backdoor money, back end money, send them our way.
Please.
If they're on the verge of being at professional level, send them over and I'll work with them. We've had several people who started out, kind of, they're close, but they're not quite there. So I work with them a little bit. We get them to, and we've had several of them this day after the first 3 or 4 illustrations, they just took off.
Well, I mean, the first person that comes to my mind whenever we talk about this,
yes,
as far as the art is concerned, is Clayton Hinkle.
Exactly. Right. That's who I was thinking of.
Clayton started doing one of the early Quartermain books for us. Mm-hmm. And halfway through that project, he sent in a composition to both me and you. And there was something wrong in the perspective. It was totally out of whack.
Right.
Right. And so you saw it immediately and basically took out your black magic marker, worked on his composition, and said, no, bring this character in closer, this scene further back, you get the perspective shot of, back, blah, 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 and send it to Clayton. Clayton appreciated that so much, sat down, redrew the thing, and when he sent it in, it was perfectly acceptable, okay? So, yeah, I mean, look, Rob's a professional at this, okay? And he's done this for many, many years, and he enjoys working with young creative talents who are on the cusp.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So again, if you like to draw, if you like to read excellent, exciting pulp adventures and like to be a part of this, give him a holler or give me a holler. Okay. But the more illustrators we have, the more we can get the productions rolling again and get some of these. The rate, Rob, I think we're going on almost 4 years to get that book out, and God bless Frank Dershell for his overwhelming patience to hang in there with us. Okay,
is that the record now? Because I think we had one that was like 3 or 4 years before this.
Right, but right now the Wraith is it. The Wraith is the oldest thing.
I think it's the one that's hung on the longest.
Right now, it's the oldest we have in the tubes, and it's getting done because Chris Nye is awesome. He is turning in beautiful,
nice stuff.
Right. Nice stuff. So again, it's a challenge to find cover artists. I'm not going to say it isn't, but believe me, I have much better luck finding a cover artist because, hey, one piece of art. Okay,
Right.
you can talk to artists, and you're not going to take up 2 or 3 weeks of their time. All right.
Right.
So yeah, a lot of them are more receptive to, yeah, I'll give you a cover. All right. But then when it's like, can you give me 9 illustrations or anthologies? Can you give me 12? Well, obviously, they've got other projects and whatever. So
Yep.
again, we put out the plea every time we do a podcast, and it works. Loyal Airmen, you guys are great. You do know other people. You do know people who draw. And honestly, the guys we get, Rob, are by word of mouth.
Yeah.
Loyal airmen that we know have sent them our way. So please keep doing that. Please.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Hey, Rob, yay, talking about Rob's work, has started reading the stories that will be featured in Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, Volume 14, to prepare himself to start doing the illustrations for that book. Rob has done all the interior art for each and every volume of this, our best-selling series. Whereas Volume 14 is going to sport a cover by none other than Canadian Ted Hammond. Now that should be something
Can't
to
wait
see.
to see that one. That's going to be kick ass.
Yeah.
Excuse my language, but kick
Okay.
ass. And not only have I finished reading them, but I've also finished doing the thumbnails. I have them right here. So it's after doing the
Oh, that's cool.
uh,
That's
then I
wicked cool.
started on the Sherlock Holmes thing. So hopefully those will get rolling here pretty quick. But yeah, that's just a peek at how I do this.
Right.
I have the sheet, and I do these thumbnails that are kind of rough ideas about what each illustration is going to be. And you can see that's got 12 on it, but I can also do, if it's a novel, I can knock out the last
Right.
4 and just do 9.
Right. And as people who aren't familiar with the process, when artists do thumbnails like this, it doesn't necessarily mean that the finished art will look exactly like this sketch.
It does not. In fact, many times I've started working on it, and I go, nah, that doesn't work real well, and I do something completely different. But it gets the creative juices going, and so as you start getting into the illustrations, you start moving the camera in my mind will maybe move just a little bit, but that just gets okay. This is the moment in time that I'm gonna make this illustration, because even like if it's a paragraph where Ron has stuck it in, sometimes the pen gets moved a paragraph or two or a page or two, but wherever he sticks that pen, that's that moment in time that I'm trying to capture, the emotion or the action in that particular sequence. So that's how so that kind of solidifies my feelings about what's going to happen there. So art lesson for the day is
okay. All right. Go, Rob. All right. So now you get the last little item as far as what's coming.
And of course, we've mentioned in past episodes, we've also got Bass Reeves, Frontier Lawman, Volume 4, and Brother Bones, number 5, Tales of Cape Noir, in the works. So as ever, lots of great pulp reading coming your way, loyal airmen. Stay with us.
There you go. There you go. Hey, before we get to the next item of the agenda, when you were trying to, challenge with Frank Derschel's name, and again, we got so many people who send us these names that we brutalize all the time. But I got to tell you a little thing I caught on. Do you ever watch that show on television? And I'm sure so many of our loyal airmen have probably caught it on the History Channel. Pickers, American Pickers.
I love that show.
Okay.
I love that show.
Okay. So here's the kicker, right? One episode last week, my wife and I were watching it, and I'm trying to think. Mike had gone off to do something, and so he left Frank with his brother. Now, I don't remember his brother's name, but his brother's guest on the show.
His brother's name's Rob.
Okay, so
yeah, his brother's name's Rob.
So Rob and Frank go to this guy who had this like old gas station, all right, from the 30s and 40s, and it's filled with memorabilia from gas station stuff, including, all right, a gas company I had never heard of, right? And so apparently they did, All right, they were aware of it. All right, but
Mike is a huge automobile, gasoline, oil fanatic.
okay.
He
So
loves that stuff.
so
Yeah.
here's the thing. Supposedly, sometimes in the Depression, there was a gas company called, and Rob, and I understand how this works. Okay, take the word Ohio and
Uh-huh.
put an S in front of it. The company is called Sohio. All right. So
Okay.
so when Rob said it, he said Sohio. And the guy goes, no, it's Ohio. Frank's looking, he goes, that's what he said. And the guy goes, no, he said Sohio. It's not, it's Ohio. And they went on with this for like 20 minutes, all right? And my wife looked at me and she goes, are you hearing any difference? I said, I don't know. I said, let me try. So I said, Sohio. She goes, you did it too. I said, what'd I do? What'd I do? She said, you're saying so. It's not supposed to be so. It's Ohio. Hey, look, if you've
It's like Texaco, Texas company, Texaco. But it's Ohio, huh?
if you've ever met people from a foreign country, they will tell you English is such a
Oh,
awful language
it's
to learn.
it's
It's
hard for folks to
for
speak the
English for us
language,
to say.
let alone somebody who doesn't speak the language. We have such weird grammatical rules,
Oh, yeah, and the same words mean one
and
thing and mean
weird
another thing.
brought over from French, and you do any of the Latin languages, and the grammar is flipped. Stuff
Right.
stuff gets
Yeah.
put in different places in it,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
so
All the Romance languages are like that. French,
yes,
Spanish, and whatever.
one's
It'll Italian.
based on Latin,
Yeah.
based on old
Believe,
Latin.
believe it to them Brits to put the cart in front of the horse.
Oh, gee, you put the Brits and the French together. Oh man, uh, just
Anywho,
Angles and the Saxons. Oh man,
it's still
crazy.
going on, right? We suffer.
So
Oh, all right, all right. Hey, look,
yeah,
we're gonna talk. We take a couple seconds here. We want to remember our good buddy Jamie Ramos, and take a second to remind all you loyal airmen that Jamie is still waiting in hopes of receiving a new kidney. Jamie suffered kidney failure and has been on a dialysis machine for quite a while now. He's a young guy. He's a father, a husband, a really all-around super great guy. And every day we hope and pray that he'll get that call that there is a healthy kidney waiting for him. So we appreciate it if you'd add your own good wishes and thoughts to ours.
yeah,
All right.
because kidney dialysis is really rough on you.
Yeah,
It's
it
I
is.
think we've talked about this before.
Yeah, we had.
I actually have transported people to our local dialysis system, and you take them there, and they're in wheelchairs, they're using walkers, and they come out, and some of them can barely move.
Yep.
Because the process takes all the blood out of your body, pulls out all the toxins and everything. But while it's doing that, it also takes out all of the food energy that's put into your blood as well. So
Mhm.
they're just drained when they come out of
Mhm.
there.
Right.
Let's good thoughts and prayers for Jamie that
Right.
you can
Now
find somebody
at the
that can
same time,
get him
this
out
one,
of this. And
right.
yeah, I'm hoping you're gonna. I think you're going where I think you should be
Yeah,
going.
where
Yeah.
I'm going, which is early this morning, we found out another friend of ours, okay, had some serious health issues, and that's our writer buddy, Van Plexico. We just found this out, and basically what's happened was, and pay attention, loyal airmen, because this is what Rob and I have been telling you for the longest time, okay? What
Yep.
happened was Van went in for a regular colonoscopy, okay? And they found polyps, and the polyps turned out to be cancerous.
Yep.
All right. So the end result being is once they, did further examinations and tests and whatever, it had spread to some parts of his lower intestine. And so last few days, Van was in the hospital for, I guess, 3 or 4 days, and had a small portion of his lower intestine removed. Trust me, people, this is serious surgery. All right.
Yeah.
He's home now. He reports that he's doing fine. But again, they've taken what they took and they're testing those at a pathology lab in the hopes and prayers that they got it all.
I think
So,
it said something about they also took some lymph nodes,
right.
in
Right.
the area too, because that's how they test to see if it's spread very far or not. They take some of those and they also test them.
Right.
So let's, again, thoughts and prayers that
All
they
right.
got it all. And
Yeah.
we can add him to our Survivors of Cancer Club.
I told him that. I says, I hate to be the one to welcome you to the Cancer Survivors Club, but then again, it's much better than being in that other club.
The other club. I don't want to be in it.
No, and
not anytime soon.
And he totally got it. So that if anybody is seeing any of this interchange that I posted on my Facebook page, Van posted thanking everybody for their prayers and well wishes, but he ended this with this little note: get a colonoscopy. See,
prostate exam, colonoscopy.
Get them done.
Get them done.
Yeah, found in time.
Saved my life.
And lots of other people. Lots of other
people's
people.
lives. A lot of other people.
Right.
And
okay.
they've even got a new, you don't have to go in and have that thing run up inside of you anymore either. They actually have a newer test that's very effective that's essentially a chemical test.
A smear test.
A smear test.
Right.
I won't say what you have to smear
is,
because you should understand what you have to smear. But yeah, you take a sample and put it on this paper and you mail. Strangely enough, you mail it to your doctor or you mail it to the place. And
I'm not going there with a 10.
Yeah. Well, people say I'm full of that, but okay.
I'm seeing some airman, some mailman on a hot day.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm sure it's sealed up. I'm sure it's hermetically sealed, so you don't get any of that. But yeah, you know what we're talking about, but still can save your life.
Yeah. Checkups, regular checkups.
Okay.
And your doctor says you need further tests for this, do it.
Go do it. Go do it. I mean, it's scary. It is scary. I understand that, but it's scarier facing the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, not being here and leaving your loved ones behind. Okay,
yeah.
Don't be that selfish. Okay, a lousy little test and stick around because we love you and we want you here for a long time to come. So there you go.
Oh, all right.
All right. So
here we go. Now we're going to get serious.
Artist Michael Stribling recently expressed his appreciation as to how being on polar opposites of the political stage, me and Rob not only work well together, but maintain a genuine friendship. So the offhand question that he was implying was, how do you guys do it? Jump in there, amigo.
Okay. Well, to start with, here's a telling piece, because when he got this question, Ron wrote to me, he goes, now we can pass this by if you want to, or we can address it, but I'm going to leave it up to you. And that's what it comes down to, is respect enough of the other guy's opinion that you go, okay, do we want to go here or do we not? So anyway, what I wrote, two things. Ron and I, we avoid talking about politics around each other like it's the plague, because we know I've got my opinions. He's got his opinions. I know I'm not going to bring him over to my side, no matter how hard I talk. And he knows he can say anything he wants and it's not going to change my mind. So recognizing that fact, we leave it alone. And the second thing is, we try to find common ground.
Amen.
What is it we both have a great interest in? What do we both find, important in life? And or in the case of our friendship, that's based on comic books, pulps, and Airship 27. We both have a really strong interest in that, so that's what we stick to. That other stuff, okay. Ron can deal with that at his house. I can deal with the other side of my house. My Facebook page, I deal with that. His Facebook page, he deals with that, and we don't pay much attention to what the other guy's saying. That's not important to what we do.
No.
What is important to what we do is is making books that you enjoy reading.
Totally.
And that's our focus.
Totally, 100%. I again see, and that's something that I agree with 100%. Okay, there's nothing about what Rob just said that I have any issues with at all. All right, look, the world is divided enough as it is. It scares me sometimes, Rob. It does. Okay, and
Yeah, both
I
of
mean,
us. Yeah,
yeah. Well,
that's another thing we share. Yeah.
both of us have been at conventions, and people have tried to get you or me into these kind of political discuss whatever, and both
What
of
do I
us,
do?
we raised it right. Yeah,
And walk away.
yeah. This
I'm
isn't
saying
this.
I gotta go. I gotta go. I'll be back in a little bit.
The little boy's room's calling me. Bye bye.
Yeah.
You know,
I have to go. I have to go anyway. So what? Why not? But yeah.
that's another thing we have in common at our age. But what the heck, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
but
That's it.
cautionary tale, and I'm not going to name names, okay? But this actually happened 2 days ago, and it's funny because we had the podcast coming up and this topic, and again, without naming names, two comic creators, both extremely talented. Okay, uh, basically, one of them this past week unfriended the other one because of political issues. They've worked together many times in the past, have created amazing comics, and because of a political bullshit, unfriended each other. Who won that? Who the hell won that? Nobody. Nobody. Everybody lost.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean,
Fans, they lost because they're, that other talented guy might have had come up with some really good idea that you could have worked on. Just separate those out. I understand there's some really divisive stuff out there, but you know what? That goes over there, and this goes over there, and never the twain shall meet. And focus on what you agree on. Focus on common interests and common values. And
right.
If anybody says you can't find common values with the other guy, they're not looking hard enough.
They're not trying.
It's
They're not
there.
trying. Yep.
It's there. You'll find it.
Yeah.
You may have to dig, but yeah, it's there.
And
There's something you can both agree on.
And I would hazard a guess because Michael, brought this up. I would hazard a guess that 99% of our friends in the pulp community feel the same way we do because they're of a divergent political opinions and whatever, and we know that as well of them. Okay, and that's not what this is about. So that when we go to comic conventions or we go to pulp conventions, all right, everybody leaves that at the door. Okay, the conventions, the community is about the creative stuff that we all look forward to working together with. And again, one of the things you started off with, it's really that mutual respect. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, if you don't have that, then forget it.
Yeah. Ron, even though he disagrees with these, he's still a human being. He still has a heart. I know he's a good guy. He does good things.
Yeah.
Hopefully Ron thinks the same thing about me. We both have good hearts, and but there's certain things we don't agree on. So.
Oh no. Right.
We don't.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. We're not going to convince the other guy.
Look, I mean, I saw a meme the other day on Facebook about what real friendship is. And it was a very, very succinct little thing. I think you've seen hundreds of them. And the idea of a real friend is basically somebody who accepts you even with all your imperfections for who you are. And I am not a perfect guy, and Rob will attest, and I mea culpa. There have been times, okay, as much as I don't want to do it, I have accidentally opened the political door and opened my big fat mouth, and Rob had every right to say, shut up, you're an idiot, or whatever. But you know what? He put up with me. He put up with me. All right. He put up with me. That's what friends do. Okay. None of us is perfect. Okay. The day you start thinking you're perfect, go find an island someplace and live there, because trust me, the rest of us are imperfect and we do the best we can. And it's with friends that we get that done.
Well, and another thing, if we all thought exactly the same way, boy, this would be a boring place. Earth would be a boring place if we all thought exactly the same way.
It would be ridiculous.
And nobody to challenge our ideas, so that we think better about them.
Right.
So yeah, it's it would be a very boring place. And I don't want to be in a boring place. This is kind of an interesting place to live, and I want to stick around.
Well, yeah, it has been for us for the last 10 years. I will
Yeah,
say that. Holy
yeah, yeah.
smokes.
And
The,
so,
the birth of it.
find guys, here's the answer. Find the common ground.
Amen.
It's there.
It's there.
You Republicans, Democrats, there's common ground. Find it.
Yeah.
Work on it.
Amen. Totally. Need more of that. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
There you go, Michael. I think that's answer enough.
Okay. I hope so.
Okay,
All
so we're getting close to the end of the show. Rob and I both have other things that we've got to wrap up this evening, and I'll explain some of those to you in a second. What about you? Anything else going on that you want to?
I'm still working on Twilight Grim. Yeah, Twilight Grim for. I had to stop and think about the name of the book. Twilight Grim for Silverline Comics, written by R.A. Jones. I'm up to page 17 of 21 on the first issue. So yeah, it's coming right along. It got kind of bogged down there after Pikeville, because and then of course, university starts up. Columbia College starts up, the local college that I drive for, and just as an example, today I got 6 emails from Columbia College for driving for them over the next 3 months.
Whoa!
In one day, requests for driving.
Are you
now,
sure
they're
you're
not
retired?
all. They're
Are
not
you sure
all
you're retired?
I'm busier now than before before I retired.
Holy smokes!
In a year, in about, well, actually 11 months now, I'm going to start counting the days. I will fully retire. I will no longer be driving for the city, but I'm still going to drive for Columbia College, because I have a blast taking care of these kids. This is like taking a field trip with,
Yeah.
that's essentially what we're doing. We're taking field trips with college kids, and it's a lot of fun, especially, and we've got international students that come in from all over the world, and I get to interact with them and kind of learn some of what's going on in their lives and in their countries. So yeah, I have a lot of fun with that. So I'm going to stop eventually driving a bus for the city, and I'll start driving for just the college, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm hoping that'll open up a little more time to work on more comic stuff and focus even more on Airship 27. This year has been really strange in that the last 3 or 4 years, we've averaged a couple of books a month.
Yeah.
Sometimes 3.
Yeah.
I think one month we even had 4 books come out.
We did, one a week.
But this year it's just
it's log jam.
The
part of the reason for illustrated.
Yeah.
But you know what? Hey, it comes in cycles. It comes in cycles.
But that's the way it is. We don't have deadlines. We don't, and sometimes we have an oversupply of certain aspects, and then other times we'll be short. Like I was saying earlier, it seems like I've done a lot more of our books this year. Right. And when we were talking about those books that were coming up soon, 2 or 3 of those on that list are mine. Bass Reeves. And what was the other one? I'm blanking on it right now.
Well, you're going to be doing the Brother Bones and Sherlock Holmes.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
And the Hulk, which I'm working on now. So there's 3 more before the end of the year, and we've got October, November, December. So,
Hey, it comes all too fast. Okay. Hey, as far as yours truly is concerned, man, I ain't stopped. I talked about the Fort Collins Con a couple of weeks ago. Later tonight. I mean, I'm about approximately 3.5 hours away from shooting over to the Front Range Community College, which is just down the road from here, where I am going to start my 4th class in how to write comics and graphic novels. I've got 4 students, and that have signed up for it, and it'll run for 10 weeks. And I'm really anxious to meet them tonight and to get going. I love teaching this stuff. It's a ball. It's like a second career for me, and I've had a great time with it. But then after tonight, next couple of days, Valerie and I packed the car up again because we're heading for Cheyenne, Wyoming, Friday afternoon, where I'm going to be a guest at the 2nd annual Sci-Fi Comic Expo. put on by a gentleman named John Pulls. He's an Army veteran, a really, really awesome, great guy. He's done a wonderful show. And supposedly it's being held in the center of town at what he always says is the historic Plains Hotel. So who knows? Maybe Wild Bill stayed there or somebody. I don't know, but we're anxious for it. I got to dig out my cowboy hat, and look the part when we get there. Yeehaw.
Well, Wild Bill Hickok was in that area. He was in Deadwood, South Dakota. That's
right.
where, in fact, that's where he passed away. He was
right. So
he was shot in the back of the head by some guy. But yeah, he was in that area up there. Cheyenne's a little further west and almost exactly west of there.
Right. Cheyenne's really a great. It's like one of those big little cities. All right, it's really awesome, and trust me, come fall or no, not fall, early summer, they have what they call the Cheyenne Frontier Days.
Yes, I've heard of those. Yeah,
the town population swells by like 4 times its normal size. All right, it's
like Sturgeon in Sturgis in South Dakota, where all the motorcyclists from all over the country come in.
So
it quadruples the population of the town.
Well, anyway, so I come back from Cheyenne. I'll talk about it on the next podcast, and hopefully, I've still got one more. I've got Rocky Mountain Con in November.
I was going to say that one of the cons in Denver you're going to be at. I know it's coming up.
It's been a heck of a busy year, and in between that, Valerie and I are heading back to New Hampshire for her 50th high school reunion. So again, man, there ain't no moss gathering under my feet. Believe me. Okay, we just keep hustling. I swear. Anyways. Okay. Hey, look.
My next comic is Planet Comic Con, and I just they finally opened up the table sales for Artist Alley, and I bought my table. So I'm going to be there again and set up my hotel room and all that. So I'm looking forward to that. That's in March. We'll talk more about that as we get closer.
Yeah. Okay. That's it. We're done. Only one thing left. Ron's joke.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Busybodies, Bertha and Emma, walking down the street one day when out of a store walks this beautiful.
Ron?
Jacket.
Okay. And you cut out there for a minute. Start it again.
All right.
Start it again. I think the recording got cut off. Start your joke again. I'm sorry.
Okay. No. So one day, town busybodies, Bertha and Emma are walking down the street, and out of a store in front of them walks this gorgeous blonde, decked out entirely in black leather, from high heel boots to pants to a jacket. Now, as she walks by them, Emma turns around and sneers and goes, "I just don't get what men see in women with leather." And Bertha looks at her and she goes, "Oh, that's real easy. They smell like new trucks." You know that new truck smell, Rob?
Oh,
see it good.
That was not where I thought that was going. But those are the best jokes, the ones that just kind of go, whoop. Oh, man.
See, you're sick, Fortier. You know that? You are really sick.
Oh, man. Did you run that past Valerie first?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was her comment.
Oh.
Sick, man. Hey, and that's it, loyal airmen. Thanks again for stopping by. Thanks again for helping us spread the word. And let's get it out there again. And you've just wasted one entire hour of your life.
You cannot get back.
We don't have any future policies here.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
So this is Chief Engineer Rob Davis saying so long.
And Captain Ron says down ship.
This has been a Gonzo Goose production.